concept of made in Cameroon in the Cameroonian fashion industry is gradually gaining ground with an increasing number of fashion designers. Designers who specialize in Afritude say, despite the little or no support they receive from Cameroonians in conceiving and creating homemade outfits, the industry is, however, promising. How can we as a collective force promote these fashion entrepreneurs? How far are the government's efforts in promoting made in Cameroon wares? Our guest today is one of such designers, promoter of Mafo Designs. Tamnjong Petula B talks to the agenda. Petula B, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of The Agenda. It's a pleasure having you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Lasha. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure equally for me to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, can you briefly tell Cameroonians and televiewers who are watching us at this time a little bit about your professional and educational background before we dive into your trade? Yeah.
All right. A trained teacher from ENS Bambili. I did chemistry. And I have a talent, an inborn talent to sew. So I usually introduce myself as a fashion designer, like Mafo Designs, because I prefer that makes me more comfortable and more valuable.
I just want to find out, how did you come about, this issue of designing? You're a trained teacher from ENS Bambili. Yeah. Does it mean that you have abandoned teaching? You're concentrating more now on designing?
Yeah, I actually did a private training. So I was working with the mission, private schools, later on a mission, but I wasn't really finding fulfillment. But all along I've been doing that, I've been sewing. So at some point I had to really reconsider who I was, what I was able to do, what I'm supposed to be doing, and how I'm supposed to be creating impact in my community. And I found out that it's better to go with my talents. It's better to use my talents. That's why I went back to the designing, and that is inborn. And so I had to go back to it, go back to the drawing table and get back to my roots and see that I am the fashion designer that I am, and that it is better for me to develop my skills in fashion designing. It is faster for me to grow as a fashion designer, and it's even greater to create impact in my community as a fashion designer. That is why I had to go back there. Okay. So I actually teach. I still teach. I teach online, but I teach business. I teach fashion designing. I train. So it's not like I'm not a teacher.
So what are the challenges, or the daily challenges that you guys go through in this industry?
Yeah, I think the main challenge you have is to deliver on time. We have financial challenges. There are people. Many fashion designers have their different individual challenges, but generally speaking, we have a lot of problems with electricity in our country. And so it's affecting us very much. Like sometimes we go for days without electricity. I know we are moving into, the technology, like the equipment we have in the market now. We're not going back to the analog period where we have to be using charcoal irons and paddling machines and all the like. So we have other machines that have been designed to use electricity only. So when there's no electricity, it cripples us a lot, and it stops us it actually prevents us from delivery on time. Secondly, we have the issue of communication. Like, it's a very big challenge. Most designers don't really communicate with their clients. Yeah, it's very difficult to see a fashion designer that, let's say in Cameroon, in other areas, they are schooled, yes. They're educated, and so like their system of education gives them, has allocated for them that it's possible for them to go through school and develop themselves as fashion designers. But in Cameroon, right from childhood, what we knew was that if you want to go and learn a trade like the sewing, like mechanic, like what it means you were dull in school, or your parents did not have money to send you to school. So that background, just that background alone that we grew up with, makes this sector being looked down or looked upon as a second-class kind of sector. So people don't really invest in their time, their money. No. Even when you're a fashion designer, unless they hear that you have gone to one fashion school in Nigeria or in South Africa or in US world, they don't even really respect you, except you're the one to carry on, push, and prove to the world that you can really, you're the fashion designer that you are.
So what is the difference between designing and those who are into sewing? Because when I was growing up, like most of us, we used to hear of tailor and seamstress. Now you start having names like the designer, So what is the difference between these two categories of people?
I think one is just modern. I'm a seamstress. And if you want to talk about somebody who's a designer, there are other, you have to really go modern. For example, there are personal development courses you need to take. You need to further education in what you're doing as a fashion designer. Like the fashion industry, there are a lot of courses you can take online. There are courses in other universities, like Phonic University is offering courses on fashion designing and business management. So most oftenly, when someone is addressed just as a seamstress or a tailor, you wouldn't even blame the society, because they are proving themselves to just be that. You end at just cutting the fabric and joining together, and there's no other thing you can offer. And then even when you are training, your trainees don't get any other thing. But you're supposed to be financially intelligent. You have to do social intelligence. You're supposed to be really an entrepreneur, not just the sewing part. There are a lot of things that you should improve in. So I think a designer is somebody that's able to create. That's you innovate, or you create the designs, or you bring in something new into the fashion industry, like adding other courses. No, not just the cutting and the sewing. So that's where the difference comes in.
Yes. There's another big challenge, and this time around we are talking about many Cameroonians who complain that locally produced Afri are more expensive than ready-made, or what comes from elsewhere that we go to the market and buy. Why is that?
I don't really think it's the case. Maybe it was the case in the past, but what we produce when we go to the market and you compare with ready-made are really expensive. They're expensive. If you want to get an outfit,
no, but somebody can just go to the market with 2,500 francs. Most of these fabrics, or these locally made products, they are more expensive than what comes from China and other European countries.
Okay, I think the problem is because we don't really do mass production in Cameroon, and most of the African countries, we don't do mass production. In other African countries, really, like Madagascar, they do mass production. But in Cameroon, really, we don't do that. This concept of individuality took us since from birth. While in primary school, nursery primary school, the only area where we are collective is in class when the teacher is teaching. When it comes down to writing the exams, and passing exams represents success for us. So when it comes down to an area where you have to make success, you have to attain success, you need to go individual. You are writing exams now alone. The concept is that you write alone, you don't show your neighbor. So that when this thing like this, the individualistic concept has eaten us a lot, so much so that at this point, even when you're introducing the concept of collectivity, Cameroonians don't buy it. They're seeing it as, it's very strange. And so it's going to take us some time for people's mindsets to change.
What about the fabrics? Are they too not expensive?
The fabrics too are expensive, especially the ones that are made in Cameroon. Fabrics that Sikam produces, they are very expensive. If you want to get good quality that wouldn't run, the colors wouldn't run. They're expensive. So, for example, what Nigeria produces, that the colors don't run, you can get fabrics from 3,500. But when you go to Sikam, if you want to get fabrics that the colors do not run, it should be about 7,000 francs. So if you come with a fabric like that and you want to do a design and sell, take into consideration your time and other costs of production, they have to go expensive.
So that's one of the reasons people are complaining that they tend to be more expensive than what we get from abroad. So what are you telling the powers that be in valorizing what you guys do in Cameroon, especially when it comes to your raw materials, which is of course the fabrics we are talking about here today? We have Sikam, which is of course the lone national company that is in charge of production of these fabrics.
That's even the main problem, because I have just Sikam. I don't even know if Sikam is.
But cotton is cultivated in Cameroon.
It is
by Sodi Cotton.
Yeah, it is cultivated in Cameroon, and when you do not add value to any natural product, you hardly sell it at a certain cost that can. This cotton is produced in Cameroon, but now the addition of value to cotton in order to have the fabric, the textile industry is very slow. It's very slow. Maybe if you go out there and do, let's say, pop, I don't think there are many Cameroonians who won't tell you about Sikam. It's like it's not even existing. So I don't know if if the powers that be, if they can actually invest more in this area of converting cotton into textile, it's going to help us a lot. Meanwhile, we shouldn't only sit and wait for the government.
Why can Cameroonians not get into probably investing in that sector?
That is why I'm saying that we shouldn't just sit and wait for the government, because it's agriculture we are talking about. It's a sector that, like you rightly said from the beginning, many people are getting interested in now, fashion designing. So it's a very lucrative area in business if anybody is doing agriculture. So if the Ministry of Agriculture can invest in that, fine. If we also have Text Global that is into agriculture, I think they should be considering getting into cotton production and how we can be transforming this cotton into textile.
When you finish producing this, you locally produce products, you have to market it, and marketing is another problem. Getting Cameroonians interested in, consuming their own. There is this problem, this inferiority complex, that many people think that to go for a public occasion, you need to dress in a suit, you knot a tie, and then you look at your own culture, or promoting your own cultural outfit to be primitive. How do we get over that level, or get past that level?
It's a problem of mindset. Like I said, from childhood, it was already inculcated in us that we need to grow up with this. The pattern of life that we're supposed to adopt, that we even adopted, was Western. So now that we are realizing, it means the solution is already there. If you and I, who are parents already, have identified this, it means we need to start training our children to love what our cultural, our own designs, to love
in Nigeria, Ghana, and other countries, African countries, they don't joke when it comes to promoting their cultural
That is why
outfit.
I come back. That's why I'm coming back to you and I as parents, because you see a Nigerian or a Ghanaian, you look at when their children are even going out, what they wear. On the children, mostly they wear their cultural wears. Even during events, you see them appearing in cultural wears. Even when their presidents go out, you don't see them putting on suits. They're always in their traditional, in their cultural attires, which means that it's something that has existed there, has been transferred from one generation to another. So I think that this mindset issue, our problem is the mindset. Once you look at yourself as being primitive, you don't expect foreigners to come and respect you. No. So you're always inferior, because from where you're from, the time you're putting on the dress, what you feel comfortable inside, you have chosen to feel comfortable inside, is a Western attire. But are you a Westerner? No. So if you trace your roots, one of the things that should even move you to put on your cultural attire should be the fact that you're a Cameroonian. So you cannot be putting on suits and you stand somewhere presenting a paper and calling yourself a Cameroonian when what you're putting on is even Western, that people are looking at you, they're even confused. You know, when you appear somewhere, they're supposed to look at the way you're dressed, and even if you don't speak their language, the dialect or what, they should be able to identify this person is coming from this place. And that's what other African countries do. I think in Cameroon, we need to start even in schools. They need to start, I don't know how they're going to introduce it into their programs.
The curriculum, you proposing that the curriculum be revisited?
Yes, and even some schools should start using these attires as their school uniforms.
But during matriculation in our state universities, we find people nodding tie, putting on suit.
Why wouldn't we make the ties and suits with our fabrics? If the style, that's the problem. Let's do that with our fabrics. If we use them to do our fabrics, we are still promoting, because the manner in which you sew it, you should be able to love what you are wearing, the design you are wearing. So, but the issue is we should promote our own fabrics. We should promote our culture. So if the schools must do matriculation in suits, let us implement suits in fabrics. What about graduation laws? We could do them and design them with fabrics. I saw a certain school, on a certain signboard on the road, and the graduation, they used the African fabric to decorate it, and the cap too, the tassels and that. I really appreciated. So we could introduce that in our schools right from nursery. Why should we have 5 days of this? Some schools use sportswear twice.
Yes.
We could use a traditional attire on one of those days.
How comfortable would the people be in the attire? Because that's another issue. We
sew them the way they'll be comfortable. They are pupils. They are designs of pupils. So we sew them in a way that they'll be comfortable. We'll use fabric. Let it be that. Let's say on Wednesdays they have sports, they put on their sportswear. Fridays is cultural, a day for culture, and they come with cultural attires. It's going to start making the children believe in themselves because you cannot start telling your child in the house when you are putting on suits. You're telling your child to put on the fabrics. So when we start, and then we don't have to stop. The only way this thing can continue is introducing it. Like my children, everything they wear, I design it for them. both males and females, I design. I mean, like 95% of what they put on, I design, and I tell them how important it is. I tell them the meanings of the colors, and we go out dressed like that. And so it'll be difficult for my child to reject our cultural wear when he or she grows up. It'll be very difficult because that's a mindset that's already been transformed.
Now, with the outbreak of modern technologies, these children are exposed to the Western lifestyle, telenovelas, and how do you get to convincing these kids who often spend more time on television, on the internet, watching these things that are coming from abroad, and they are copying exactly what they see on the internet?
We cannot deny that the TV and the internet has a great influence on our children. But now there's something there's somebody the children know that is their mother, and that person is me. The children don't see the mothers in telenovelas as their mother. And so the same way they believe that their mother is supposed to provide food for them is the same way they believe that I can tell them something that is good when it comes to their dressing. So from the onset, it depends on what you show them. Now, there are other advantages to you show them, because with children, it's easier to make them understand a particular concept if you show them the advantages of that thing. Now, that's what I do. That's what I do, like to earn a living. And sometimes I take them to the workshop and they come and help me. When they come to help, I'll tell them, you put bottles per dress, you have 100 francs. If you iron the dress, you have 100 francs. So they should know that they can be able to generate income from this particular activity. And then now, when I start telling them about colors, color combinations, and all the like, and I start showing them, because there are also programs that are online. You can show them, you can open those things and you show them how people are doing fashion parade and fashion shows and this and that, how the culture is being advertised and being sold to the world. I can make money from these aspects. And then when you tell them, they'll believe in you. But if you just tell them that they're supposed to wear this, and they're seeing other people acting movies with like the telenovelas you're talking about.
You're putting on the contrary.
You're putting on the contrary. The children will not listen to you. And now you can also tell them without them seeing the difference you are making. Now, I told them that I was coming on TV for this program because I'm a fashion designer, so cultural. I'm coming here to talk about our cultural activities. So if there's a gap between you and the children, and then you'll find it very difficult to change some concepts. If you allow the TV to take your place in their lives, it'll be very difficult. So though they watch TV at home, you have your place. You should be able to occupy your place as their parents and tell them what is good for them.
Yes, Cameroon has been excelling so well at the international scene. I'm talking about our outfits recently at the Tokyo Olympics. Cameroon emerged victorious when it came to their attire, their uniform, or what they paraded at the said Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. What is still stopping us, I mean, the policy makers, in valorizing, I mean, the culture? Does it mean that the designers, you are not going closer to the government, probably to sell your ideas, to show to the government that you have something to offer, as we already have, I mean, the first step, like the attire that everybody is talking about? Even the former president of the United States of America, Barack Obama, put on the attire, which was of course done by a Cameroonian, Afuakom, Prince Yerima Afuakom.
I think designers are doing a great job. If not, they'll not approve it. They'll not see it there in Tokyo. Since was it Sydney 2000?
Yeah,
Afuakom was doing a great job. I remember I was watching TV and he said, if the Cameroonians do not want to talk about me, the government doesn't want to talk about me, I'll talk about myself. Because he came up with that creative idea. And when they went for that event, Cameroon, they wore this Bamenda attire. They were exceptional. And they came back, nobody mentioned it. They were not talking about it. So he had to come out on TV and talk about it. So one thing I've seen is that the designers in Cameroon are really doing their best. I want to just encourage us that no matter how long it's going to take, sometimes when we plant seeds, we have to wait for the rain to fall. Sometimes the rain falls, you plant the seeds, and the sun shines, the seeds is dormant, some seeds die, you need to replant. So we are thinking that it's an area for the replanting for dormancy, but rain will certainly fall.
Okay, let's also talk about deadline for you guys delivering. And we have this issue of power stages in Cameroon that has been a perpetual headache to you guys, some of you that are using industrial machines to be able to do what you are doing. So how have you been able to overcome that particular challenge of, energy supply in moving ahead?
It's been very, very challenging, but I want to really thank God for grace. One thing I really want to share with designers is that I said goals are interchangeable. For example, when this power failure starts, when you sit to your shop and they cease the lights without any notification, just tell yourself that can happen for 3 days. Like you can have 3 days non-stop, no electricity. So what then do you do? Do you sit and wait for your clients to start complaining? Because no event will be pushed because there was no light. No, events still take place. So what do you do? One of the things I do is that when I have such issues, if there's no light, I just go home. I do the work I'm supposed to do. I was supposed to use that time to sew. Now I go to the house. If I was supposed to cook, I cook. I wash and then I rest. At night, most often the lights come back at night. So I rest and at night I work. So if you don't have to start adjusting and we keep complaining, I don't really love being on the complaining side. Sometimes I leave Wonaberry and go like to Dedo or to Omnisport where there's light to sew.
Okay.
You have to call a colleague. Do you have light? Yes, please. I'm coming to your place to sew. Like today, I just went and borrowed somebody's machine because I didn't have light, so I had to complete from somebody. So no matter what happens, there is no business area that there's no challenge. If we want to keep complaining because we think that we have areas, we have opportunities to complain, and that will not make a difference. That is why most of the designers just stay at the level of small businesses, at the level of survivor. Tomorrow we are not there, business stops. So we need to upgrade. We should stop complaining. What do we do? What if the government does not improve? NAO does not improve? Are we going to keep complaining? Do you think events will stop? How are other people in other areas coping? Because people organize events and they see slides, they use generators. So we too should upgrade. If we cannot buy generator now, let's keep moving from one place to another till we upgrade and buy the generators.
Okay. So now, where do you see yourself 2 years from now? I'm sure you have made a lot of progress from when you started. Where do you see yourself in 2 years to come?
Thank you for that question. 2 years from now, we should be operating a fashion house. And we are really strategizing. That is why we came up with a Mafo Design Show. It's on Facebook every Saturday morning.
Yes.
So Mafo Design Show, we talk about food for the mind. We talk boost your energy. We propose designs for the week or for the month. We also appreciate wonderful people like you who have been promoting us. And then there's one more thing. So those things we do. Okay, we also talk how to deliver on time as a designer.
Yes.
So those are the 5 to 6 aspects we'll be discussing. Each day we'll take one of those aspects on the Mafo Design Show. So what I'm saying is, if it's important for you to have a plan, and when you have a plan, you need to strategize. So this is one of the strategies we are using. And then from January 2022, we are going to be operating as a startup, not as a small business any longer. Where we are bringing in already co-founders, and these co-founders, we are going to be operating now as a team. So we are putting a system in place where not only one person will be taking the decisions, not only one person will be using his or her expertise, but we're going to get experience, expertise, mentorship, probably so that we can get finances and all the like. So that is our plan for in 2 years from now. That's where we see ourselves.
Are you already partnering probably with some big names that we know in the fashion and design industry in Cameroon? Some of them who have been working tirelessly to dress some of the artists that we see on television.
I've written to some already, like Le Parisien, Moussadi. I've written to some of them, and they've actually picked up, like Ama Fashion, they've actually picked up rendezvous with me. So I need to meet them so that we sit and say that even Noni Fashions, I've written to them. Those are people that I've written to them so far.
So how collaborative are these people? But because most often when people like to walk alone, that's the observation that many Cameroonians they have. I mean, their brothers, that most of them don't want to work in synergy to promote probably the industry.
We addressed that already. You said that thing came from from our school background. We were brought up like that. So we are appreciating the few that are interactive, that are changing their mindsets. You ask how interactive they are. One of the things that happens to you is the way you get into somebody's inbox, the approach you use. Because hardly have I written to them that have not responded. So it's not even that they knew me, or I've met with some of them in events. One of the things two designers do not do is that they don't attend events. Noni Fashion is organizing an event, and the poster is online. There's a number there to contact. There's a date. You don't contact the number. You don't save the date. You don't attend the event, but you want him to attend to you. It's impossible. There are ways that you have to do. There are ways that you have to position yourself so that when you get into somebody's inbox, the person will respond because the person would have heard about you or your efforts and all those sort of things. So I'm thinking that designers are supposed to step up. They are the ones who are at the forefront, and it's difficult when you are the key, when you're the lead, when you're the ones breaking the frontiers, breaking the boundaries. We're the ones setting the pace. It's difficult for you. So I think we should be supportive by even appreciating them. Why don't you share their posts? You know, some of us we're not friends with them on Facebook.
Yes.
We are not friends with them. We don't know what they do on Instagram. We don't know their challenges, nothing. We don't know what they organize. We don't know their programs of the year. But the one that they should come down to our level to do what? We're the ones to step up. We're the ones to sit up. So you need to. It's difficult. Sometimes even in my inbox, when I see a type of message, I don't even respond. I imagine what those people are going through. So if you want to grow and to their level, even surpass look at other fashion designers in the world, you need to go online, search them, read about them, the things they do, and you start doing those things. The simplest way is to go online, search Noni Fashions, start sharing his post. Immediately he sees that this person shared my post, he's going to start taking note of that name. The day you write him, you say, I am Petula B. Mafo Designs, he's going to respond immediately. But we don't do any work. We don't do our own homework. We expect people. It's not really possible.
What has been your their worst time since you embarked on this journey? I mean, have you had to feel a client or a job that was not well done and you had to get yourself into trouble? Can you share with us?
When I had an accident.
Yes.
Yeah, I had an accident at one point. I nearly lost my life. I was even crippled. I was on a wheelchair all the life. So every contract stopped and it was abrupt. I had contract with schools. I had contract with people who had events. I had wedding dresses to do, and all that came to a standstill. It was true that I was fortunate because the accident was not my intention. Okay. But I had matters to settle. People were calling, and now what I did was I had to call other designers to help me do the work that I started. It was not easy, but when you're collaborating with your colleagues, even when you find yourself into trouble, you call.
Come to your ease.
Yes. So one of the things I did was that I called many of them and sent them to them and explained to them this is a situation. And one of the things I do is that immediately there's no lie, I start calling the clients I'm supposed to supply them. I write to them. There's some that I write only on WhatsApp. I write to them, please, there's no light. If up to Saturday there's still no light, I'm just preparing your mind so they can look for something else to wear instead of the one I'm supposed to produce. So when you prepare their minds, no matter what happens, though, and it's from that time that I learned a lesson. I learned how to prepare the minds of my clients.
Okay. Yeah. And the best job that you've ever delivered?
The feedbacks are really many. The feedbacks are many. Sometimes I cannot really tell who is the best because when I get the messages, I just feel like it's the best. You know, sometimes it's not that I sew too well. I think it's the way I present it. It's the way I deal with the clients. Like if I make an error or your dress, for example, I apologize. Sometimes I just choose to replace it without you even asking. So when I do it and finally do it well, they're telling me that I'm the best. So I cannot really tell who is. There are a lot of people. Mr. Teke has sent me a message. Mafo Design is the best. Like when I offered gifts to my godson, Teke Samuel and Professor Mulwa during the Audacity of Success, he sent a message. Mafo Design is the best. Pastor Wango Boris, Mafo Design is the best. Okay. Mr. Buju, all of them, they say like that. So what I think is, the best is not really me. The best is what the clients, those are the clients. So when they say Mafo Designs is the best, it's because they are the best.
Thank you so much, Petula B. That name is almost got it wrong. Petula B. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of The Agenda. It was a pleasure having you, madam.
Thank you too.
I must appreciate you for my address.
Thank you so much, and please follow us on Facebook, Petula B. Mafo Designs. Thank you. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you, madam.
How do you move forward when you have to face so many daily challenges? How do you move forward when facing difficulties to secure your family's future? How do you move forward in those tough moments you find yourself without solution? What if Momo could help you have one step ahead every day? Pay with Momo. Dial *126#. MTN Momo. It's easier, faster, and safer. Until October 31st, all your payments with Momo are up to 100% refundable.